Hey everyone, let's take a little bit of time and let's talk about how do you, as a key leader, as a pastor, deal with the stresses that seem to sometimes be bountiful when it comes to moving forward and leading in a local church situation. The reality is, stress is very real, and in certain seasons, it does abound. It can limit your creativity. It can make you feel like you're going backwards when all the effort is focused on moving forward. It has the ability to show up in our lives and really different crises that kind of rise up. And then that crisis is followed by a busy season, followed by another busy season. Sometimes stress is something that's caused by internal challenges, and other times from external issues. Every team, every individual, you are going to face season stress. Sorry, be encouraged, but that is a reality. It is during those seasons that good leadership really is more significant than ever. And so I want to give you some thoughts. I'm going to give you some patterns, some principles to think through as you navigate those seasons of great stress in your life. The first rule of thumb is simply this: don't panic. Don't panic when crisis breaks out, when life becomes more stressful than expected. See, if the leader panics, everyone following you is going to panic. And so during these trying times, as a good leader, my encouragement to you is do everything you possibly can to bring peace into a situation. And having a calm and steady demeanor, it has a way of assuring people everything is going to be okay, that God is in control in this process. And so I don't mean in that process, don't be very careful, don't give false hope to people, but rather you want to help people understand and kind of find their framework, find balance in the midst of challenges when they do show up, because they will. And so don't panic, whether or not it's internal stress and strife that's taking place in a local church, whether or not it's societal crisis that are breaking out within the community. Just don't panic. We need to trust the fact that God is there, that He is present, and your people will be looking to you for that reassurance. And so if you panic, your people will panic. So number one principle, as you're dealing with seasons of stress, don't panic. Number two, I'm going to encourage you, find joy in plotting. Find joy in plotting. Plotting, this idea is, think of from a farming perspective, that you just get out and you just till the ground season after season, day after day, preparing the soil for the harvest. Plotting equates to this idea of being open and willing to long suffering. During seasons of great stress, the reality is endurance is always tested, and temptations seem for some reason to grow stronger in those seasons. I don't know if you've experienced that. I know I have. Leadership really is about walking in faith. And walking by faith is equating this idea of just taking and putting one foot in front of the other, and you just keep moving forward. It's moving forward. It's this plotting perspective. And as you continue to move forward, your team will also follow you in that process, and they too will move forward. See, the call of the leader is to remain steadfast in both the good times and in bad times. So number one, don't panic. Number two, find your joy in the process of just plotting. Be patient, persevere. The third is, I'm going to encourage you, leader, stay above reproach. Pastor, stay above reproach. Character is usually tested in the times of great stress. People are constantly watching how a leader is going to respond when times are actually very challenging and when times become chaotic. A leader has to be able to remain both authentic, and yet you need to be unquestionable in your integrity. This is so imperative to the overall health of a team and to the overall health of the organization. Pay attention, create space. That way you're not so stressed that you make a decision or you act reactionary in a way that you're going to regret. Live and stay above reproach, even in the basics of your decision making. Number four, don't neglect your own health. And this is a big one. The call of leading a team or an organization, it is going to require you as a leader to truly be on top of your game. And thus, as a leader, you need to do everything you possibly can to kind of remain healthy personally so that you can actually have the energy to fulfill the call that God has placed on your lives. Couple tidbits that you want to pay attention to. Number one, make sure that you're sleeping well, that you have a healthy sleeping pattern and rhythm. Go to bed in good time, get up in good time. Just because you're doing the Lord's work doesn't mean you don't need 7 to 8 hours of regular sleep in order to kind of recuperate and replenish all that was exhausted. Number two, Pastor, I'm going to encourage you, eat right. I know now in this stage of ministry, I can't eat the same way that I used to when I started ministry. My body just doesn't function the same way. You want to get in healthy rhythms of making sure you eat well and you're eating the things that honestly are going to help create energy. Think of it from good fuel versus bad fuel when it comes to how you operate. The third thing is I want to encourage you to work out. Have a good just regular fitness plan, whether or not that's walking in the evenings, whether or not it's lifting weights, riding a bike. Find something that is an outlet that maybe for 30 minutes a day that you're just physically active. And so you're building both your cardio system and your anaerobic system to be able to sustain and have the energy to be able to lead throughout the day, knowing that these seasons of stress can become more taxing than any others. And friends, I'm telling you from personal experience, I've walked through these seasons and I've not paid enough attention to my health in some of those seasons, and I've paid a price. And that price of just pushing hard and hard and hard and hard, eventually it will catch up to you. There was a season in ministry that I found myself, I just could not sleep. It didn't matter what I was doing. I ended up going to sleep specialists, going to neurologists. And one of the things that we found was that my body was not actually going into deep sleep. In other words, I would go to sleep, I would be in bed for 7 hours, but my heart rate would never actually drop. And so my body, as a result, was never coming down from the rush of adrenaline, and as a result was never fully able to recuperate from the day. And day after day after day of doing that, my body just wore out, and it got to the point where I was on the brink of burnout. I didn't actually hit burnout, but I was close to it. I was thankful that I had enough people around me that were beginning to see the signs that I wasn't able to see to be able to challenge me and speak into that. And so don't neglect your own health in this process. And then the last principle I want to encourage you to, as you're walking through these seasons of stress, find and live with margin. The reality is that when stress is present, key decisions actually become more difficult to actually make. And even though the decisions are harder, they're never less important, and actually might be more important in this season than ever before. So create margin in your day. Don't just pack out your day full with meetings and just going from one thing to the next thing. Have margin in your day and in your life. Those things will actually provide room for you to get away, process, and to deal with, whether or not through prayer, through strategy, whatever it may be, talking with other people, but it will help you deal with the weightiness of those key decisions that you're about to make. So number one, don't panic. Number two, find joy in the plotting, persevere, be patient, stay above reproach, Pastor. Don't neglect your own health, and create margin as you move forward. Remember that God is with you. You are not alone. And when you need help, that's what people like me are here for. Call on us. We'd be more than happy to walk with you through those seasons and give you outward perspective so that you can have inner breakthrough.